Opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
Happy Taco Tuesday out there in Milwaukee land. But yeah, Taco Tuesday, you gotta add that in, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody just thought about it. I'm gonna give you some tacos. You
I
right?
just thought about it.
Yeah, Taco Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to everybody in Milwaukee. Today is May 13th, 2025. We are at WNOV right here on the corner. Sitting here looking at all these folks staring at me while we walking in. Jermaine, you funny dude. Thanks for that great advice about our beautiful people. Sometimes you just got to smile back. Yeah, we are Be a Voice Radio, 860 WNOV 106.5 FM. Sitting here with the co-hosts.
Yeah, Joe Dray, Policy Director for Wisconsin Voices. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
What's going on, Joe?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here. Not as beautiful, sunshiny day as we had yesterday, but
Still feels good.
still feels good, man. I'll take it. I'll
Yeah, a
definitely
little,
take
a
it.
little overcast, a little rain this morning. That's about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, we got a good show today. We're going to talk a little bit about the budget. We're going to talk about prescription drug prices, a couple other things, just trying to keep everyone informed. And also, Brian, we're going to talk about today how to find a good source of information. How can you debunk or tell the difference between fake news and real news? So
Right.
it can be a little difficult sometimes. So we got some tips and guidelines, and Brian's gonna share a little bit.
Cool.
We're gonna get her done. So
All right.
good week, man.
Yeah, so far so good, man. You know, just trying to see what's going on and just keeping my nose in the political airwaves and
Right.
just looking at all the changes and things being dropped day to day. So, you know, every day it's something, whether it's, you know, you're looking at the local news, you're looking at something that's going on nationally. If you are interested in, you know, just keeping yourself in the loop, again, we'll talk about, you know, which ones to check out as far as some of the sites and just how to debunk some of the ones that you may feel, you know, iffy about. But other than that, you know, we prepping up, you know, to get things in order as usual, getting things prepared to get to the next stage of just, you know, working with the partners. Again, I want to shout out the ones that are contributing and doing all the work every day, which is a lot to shout out.
Yeah.
But shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. We'll be working closely with some in the next few weeks, months, just getting things together. Of course, gearing up for 2026 election. My boy over here going through it.
Oh yeah.
Man, what's going on, man? You had a workout injury?
Yes, man.
What you was doing?
Shoulders.
Yeah.
Hurt my shoulder.
Was you going above or was it like some press? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's right in between the dips, so I can't even get
Right.
there. And it's right on. Yes,
Yeah.
it's right on the nerve. So
Yeah.
every move, like you know how back in the day on the cartoons they had this song, the hip bones connected to the leg bone. I swear that's true. Moving my feet, it hurt my neck. It's like everything is connected.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I'm in pain, so y'all just bear with me.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine who got an injury somewhere down in their lower leg or lower foot somewhere, and they can feel it all the way up.
Yeah.
You know, the nerve stuff is real, man. Have you seen the nerve system, the nervous system, the nerve? Oh,
it shocks the body.
Yeah, and it's just how detailed it is.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. Yeah, so you're going to feel it for sure.
Listen.
Man.
Yeah.
We're getting too old to be doing that stuff, Jermaine.
Yeah, man. I mean,
did you stretch?
Yep, I did. But the problem is after I worked out and I had compromised the muscle because I kind of sat wrong and I was leaning on my shoulder.
Yeah, okay.
So, it was already sore from working out.
Yeah.
And then once I sat down and I'm leaning on it and fell asleep, stiffen up is so now that, oh my God, this muscle, man.
Well, it look like we won't be doing that gym trip that we want this week.
Man, no,
I do gotta go. I do gotta go today though, like for sure. I just gotta squeeze it in today, so I am gonna slide over to the PF. Yeah, I'll be at the PF then. Yeah, we'll just work it out for next week then. Yes, get a quick workout in before I get up out of town. Trying to slide it, try to burn a few more calories before I get out of town.
Right.
That last minute crunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, like you were saying, Joe. Yeah, just seeing what's going on, man. I know, it's always something to talk about. So I know we'll figure out some ways to get into the loop of some of these local bills and some of these policies and some other stuff that you've seen. So what you matter of fact, perfect time for you to go here, share with the people. What you got?
Well, there's some things we didn't get to yesterday. I think we had a pretty good discussion and just keeping folks informed on what's going on.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we hit a couple things that I wanted to touch on yesterday. Yesterday, Trump signed an executive order that aimed to lower prescription drug prices, according to his Truth Social post. Trump said that he would sign the order reducing prices almost immediately by 30 to 80%. Prescription drugs in the U.S. can cost up to 10 times more than in other countries of the same size and wealth. So I don't think we are any stranger to the cost of healthcare and prescription drug costs. We always see them going up and rising. So any help is always needed. But if you recall, right before President Biden stepped down, he also led an effort to get prescription drug costs reduced. So just a little bit of different comparison. So President Biden's approach was to do more Medicare price negotiations, inflation rebates, and out-of-pocket caps. Also insulin cost reduction. He capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for Medicare benefits. The way Trump wants to do is called an MFN pricing. Trump plans the executive order mandates that the U.S. pay no more than the lowest price paid by other countries for prescription drugs. The policy aims to reduce prices by 30 to 80%, potentially saving the U.S. trillions. The executive order was signed yesterday before he departed for the Mideast, where he's on talks with, just had talks with Saudi Arabia. Both approaches seem to reduce prescription drug costs, but differ in methodology and scope. So Biden's plan focuses on Medicare through legislative means, while Trump's proposal seeks broader changes via executive order action. The effectiveness and impact of these strategies isn't really clear right now, but it's a wait and see kind of thing to see if this really actually has any impact. But pretty much, I think both trying to get to the same route, same outcome, just taking different routes to get there. One was solidified through the Congress, and one's being done by an executive order. One focused on Medicare negotiations and reduction, and while the other one seems to set a different standard. So it's a wait and see game. We know a lot of folks out there depend on healthcare. A lot of folks, especially senior citizens, will spend out of pocket a lot of money for their prescriptions. So like I said, it's a wait and see game, and we see if this actually reduces the price of some prescription drugs for some folks. So Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little confusing to me with the other talk. So as far as cutting in different areas, then cutting
Yeah.
So
It's
I guess if you cutting Medicaid and things like that, I guess,
Mhm.
or if the administration is thinking, if that's the case with all the programs, I guess one area that we may see it are individuals being able to afford their medication if they can't afford anything else.
I mean, that would be.
Is that what you're kind of getting?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at it across the board and everything that's going on, I mean, with cuts to other departments, yeah. I mean, it's kind of been the status quo for this administration. This is just an observation. Um, with all the cuts and everything, it's almost that the responsibilities being taken away from the federal government, put back on the individual, to take care of themselves, to pay for their medications, to pay for their health care, to pay for their education. As we saw, student debts. That's another thing that has transpired is they're going to start recollecting student debts. So if you're out there and you have some student debt, there's some ways that you can manage that. Definitely talk to a financial advisor about that. But folks are going to have to pay out of their pocket for a lot of things. I guess we would all hope that prescription drugs isn't one of those. That we can get folks the life-saving medicines that they need at a free or reduced cost.
Yeah.
So another thing that happened here a little more locally in Wisconsin, there's been a significant legal development that's unfolded regarding gerrymandered maps. And I know we all thought we had this behind us after the last maps and the battle last year with all the redistricting. So Democratic voters represented by Elias Law Group and other legal advocates have petitioned the Wisconsin Supreme Court to overturn the state's congressional district boundaries. They argue that the current maps unfairly advantage Republicans and violates constitutional principles of representative democracy. The outline provides a comprehensive framework for a 2-hour discussion. Oh, sorry. That was something else. So there are some legal implications. The lawsuit filed by the Democratic voters and legal advocates argue that the current congressional maps unfairly advantage Republicans, violating constitutional principles of representative democracy. The Wisconsin Supreme Court decision to take up the case could set a significant precedent in determining the constitutionality of partisan gerrymandering. Rule favoring of the plaintiffs could establish legal standards for evaluating gerrymandered maps, influencing future redistricting efforts nationwide. So we're about to go through it again with the gerrymandered maps, provided that the Wisconsin Supreme Court decides to take it up. I mean, we heard a lot of this, Brian, in the campaign for Wisconsin Supreme Court earlier this year. We heard a lot about the maps. Elon Musk was here in Wisconsin saying that if one candidate doesn't get elected, that it's going to be the end, because of they're going to redraw all these maps and Wisconsin will be lost forever with some of the rhetoric. So it looks like that battle's kicking up again. In the Jermaine over here with he's got his massager going, trying to get some relief. But yeah, so the gerrymandered maps are going to come back. We're going to hear a little bit more discussion about that, I believe, and we'll just have to wait and see if the Wisconsin Supreme Court decides to take up that case. It's a wait and see kind of thing. And again, it seems like that's all we're doing. But in conclusion, the Wisconsin
just in time for the 2026 election season.
Exactly. And that is something that if the Supreme Court does take it up, Brian, it would be in effect for the 2026 midterm elections, which could really reshape the way the state legislators made up, could reshape U.S. House congressional districts, could make things look a lot different. And we'll just have to hear the arguments from both sides. And obviously, both sides are going to argue the case, and we'll see where it all sifts out. But Yeah, I thought we had that behind us, Brian, and I guess we don't.
Back to it.
Back to it.
Yeah.
So another thing is we've been talking a lot about the budget lately. My lord, I think we've talked about it 4 or 5 different shows. So we wanted to give an update on that. The Wisconsin Legislative Budget Committee voted along party lines to kill more than 600 budget proposals put forth by Governor Evers, including spending more state money on child care providers, expanding Medicaid, and raising taxes on joint tax filers who earn more than $1 million a year. Some of the items that were killed in the budget were allowing absentee ballots to be processed before polls open on election day. And this is one thing that we've heard from poll workers, or I have personally heard from poll workers, is that, man, they just wish they could go in and count the absentee ballots the night before, because they could, by law in Wisconsin, they can't start counting those votes until election day. So they already start off kind of behind in the counting process, which slows the process down. So yeah, that would have really helped our poll workers, and it's getting more difficult for municipalities to get poll workers and folks to come out and volunteer their time to come out and work the polls. So I'm not sure that that's the best measure. We want to make their job a little bit easier, I would think. Governor Evers' budget is introduced would have spent about $119 billion over 2 years, which is a 20% increase in spending from what we've seen in the past. Evers and Republicans have actually been in talks about a tax cut plan that they can both support, but have not released the details. Republicans argue that most of the state's roughly $4 billion surplus, let me say that again, the state's roughly $4 billion surplus should be returned as tax cuts rather than used to support spending on K through 12 schools and for the University of Wisconsin and other state programs. We did talk to, when we went over the budget, Brian, about all the money that was being allocated for education and healthcare, and I think we all kind of had some high hopes that funding would go through.
Yeah.
But we know that now that it was one of the things that was defeated in committee. Evers' proposal stripped from the budget on last Thursday included eliminating tax on tips, which I think we've heard from both sides of the aisle, that tax on tips is something that we all agree on, that maybe that's something that we should let folks keep their tip money. Increasing funding to combat the forever chemicals, or the PFAS, making sure our waterways are cleaned up, targeting property tax cuts for veterans, seniors, and people with disability, and spending $128 million on new financial aid targeting low-income college students. So all those things that were originally in the budget from the governor are no longer in the budget.
Also, I'm looking at, they got lead pipe replacement. They took out the budget, and that is really major right now in Milwaukee. As you see, all the schools being shut down, and that's not even just talking about the schools. It's talking about a lot of the houses all across the city. And not just the city, just not the ones in the inner city. It's ones stretched out. They showed, from Sherwood to certain different parts of the Milwaukee suburbs have a lot of major lead pipes. And then also looking at, you got the Office of Violence and Prevention. They also show, I guess they took that out as well. So, yeah, I'm just going down this list with you. I'm looking at some of the stuff on here. I'm like,
yeah, it's a
600
lot.
items. That's just what, like 10.
I know.
We got a call. Look like we got a call.
Yep, we'll go ahead.
Let's go ahead and get to it. Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Assalamu alaikum to you all.
How you doing?
I'm alive.
I like to hear that.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Amongst the living. This is why I called, because I was listening to you all, and what I wanted to say or add to the conversation is this, with regard to how America is being ripped apart, unraveled. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave a Savior's Day address about this very situation that we are experiencing. And I must reiterate what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said about Donald Trump and America and the relationship between Black people and Caucasian people primarily, and how, like an onion, it has layers and you have to peel it back. And the more you peel it back, the stronger the stench or the more powerful the onion becomes. And that is representative as to the anti-attitude that has become a reality that has always been a reality, but it has become more, forward or more outwardly expressed. So again, with Donald Trump, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that Donald Trump would take America to hell, H-E double toothpicks or hockey sticks, in a rocket ship. A rocket ship. Elon Musk, and this is my own opinion with regard to what we are witnessing with Elon Musk, who is not a native or of America, but he has influence, he has sway over the president in the White House. And this is my own, again, I must say, this is my own opinion with regard to, I think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of the people, their cronies and the idiots, the unqualified persons that they have put in these positions of power are literally like robber barons, that they're trying to rape whatever it is that's left in the coffers of the United States of America, Treasury, and economic ability. Thank you.
We always appreciate our guests calling in and making their point be clear. And y'all always are welcome to call in and let us know how you feeling at Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, WNOV 860 AM 106.5. We love it. We're going to go ahead and take a break real quick. We will come back. I think we're going to hit a couple topics, get back into some things, and then, kind of switch over and let's keep it going, man. It's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday at that. We'll be right back.
AURN News.
I'm Jamie Jackson. A new report by the Washington Post is raising questions about the Trump administration's immigration policy, specifically who is being allowed into the country as a refugee. According to the Post, despite a broadly anti-immigration platform, the administration is welcoming white South Africans. The newspaper says a State Department plane carrying at least 60 white South Africans was set to arrive Monday, and that, quote, white South Africans are the only group that has been welcomed into the U.S. Now, this development comes as South Africa's Black-led government passed a law in 2024 that allows land to be taken, often without financial compensation, from white landowners in an effort to address generations of discrimination against Black South Africans. White Dutch colonization of South Africa began in the 1650s, and apartheid, a system of legal racial segregation and discrimination, was in place until 1994. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
I'm Andrea Elbers with this TMJ4 News update. Milwaukee police are looking for the suspect involved in a shooting that left a 28-year-old dead. It happened just before 12:30 this morning near Teutonia and North. According to investigators, the victim died at the scene. Anyone with information is being asked to call MPD. We now know the identities of 4 out of the 5 victims in the massive apartment fire near 27th and Highland in Milwaukee. They are 40-year-old Terrell Coleman, 62-year-old Verna Richards, 76-year-old Mark Chafin, and 67-year-old Maureen Green. An unidentified woman also died. 6 other people were hurt in that fire. Jeffrey Ruppnow is now out of jail on bond. He is the father of 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow, the school shooter in Madison. Prosecutors say Ruppnow allowed his daughter to access firearms despite her documented mental health issues. Authorities say Natalie killed 2 people before taking her own life after the school shooting in December of 2024. According to ESPN, Giannis is open-minded about exploring whether or not his best long-term fit is here in Milwaukee or somewhere else. Giannis and his representatives are expected to meet with the Bucks over the next month to discuss the future. It's important to note that Giannis has not asked for a trade. He's just said he is open-minded in exploring the topic. To watch and read these stories and more, go to tmj4.com.
Here's your updated forecast. We'll see a few spotty rain showers early today. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a high in the mid-60s. Winds out of the east around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy and a low near 52. By Wednesday, partial sunshine develops, high of 64 degrees. Thursday, a chance for showers and storms here late. Partly sunny skies, a high of 72. Friday, a slight chance for rain late. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops, high of 75. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
Remembering what we stand for. At Wisconsin Voices, we remember what we stand for. Check out our movement dedicated to empowering citizens and shaping the future. Engage with us on our website, social media, and podcast to make a difference. Visit wisconsinvoices.org. Explore our events calendar, like and subscribe to us on social media. Listen to recent podcasts and radio, and subscribe to our email and newsletter. Amplify your voice and be a voice today.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
This is Brian Sanders with Wisconsin Voices. Join me every Monday and Tuesday at 11 a.m. as we break down what's really happening in our communities. From local politics to statewide policy, we're talking civic power, public meetings, voting rights, and how you can hold elected officials accountable. It's not just talk. It's about action, strategy, and building people-powered change. Tune in.
Wisconsin Voice's 3 pillars are protecting democracy. Your vote is your voice. Wisconsin Voices works to protect democracy in Wisconsin by fighting voter suppression, promoting voting rights, and ensuring fair elections for all. Teaching advocacy. Teaching advocacy empowers and educates advocates in Wisconsin by offering training, resources, and support to enhance their skills, fostering a more informed and effective advocacy community for social and economic change. Building community. Wisconsin Voices builds strong communities for a healthy democracy by collaborating with diverse partners, creating networks for positive change, and fostering a sense of belonging and common purpose. Learn more about Wisconsin Voices by going to wisconsinvoices.org. Learn more about what our partners are doing by visiting the events calendar. Listen to recent episodes by going to our podcast and radio. Get involved today.
860 AM 106.5 FM WNOV, The Voice.
All right, we are back. Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. And as Brian would say, it is Taco Tuesday.
That it is. I keep talking. I'm definitely getting some tacos now. I wasn't at first.
Where's the best tacos in the city, Brian?
What? Man, you can pull up now. Milwaukee got tacos all over now, but I'll just go to the south side, and if not, you can hit a couple of spots on the north side too. They got about 3 or 4 new spots on the north side or northwest side you could try out now. We used to have to go to the south side, and all we had at one point was Burritos Buenos, and then a couple other little, supporting spots. You got a couple white bars, a couple black bars that make tacos, but I'm talking about Latino tacos, like Mexican tacos. It's cool that y'all be giving us some flour shells in the hood, and and the Tex-Mex from some of the white counterparts in the city, but I got to give me some real tacos, corn tortilla, cilantro, onions. It got to be from our Mexican brothers and sisters.
Jermaine,
like he has something to say about some tacos.
No, I was gonna say, man, I go to Mikasa on Capitol, man. I go to that Capitol.
Yeah.
It was like 60 something in Capital.
Yeah, if you don't want to go to the
good taco.
Yeah, if you don't want to go to the north to the south side, you
yeah.
definitely got some spots on the north side. El Tampanada out there off of 91st Street. Like you said, I think Burrito Bueno's closed. You got a new spot up there. So yeah, you got some spots in the city to go to.
What about the food trucks?
Oh, the food trucks, of course. You can pull up to a couple of them. I know that one over there by my aunt's house be popping. It's over there off of Fond du Lac. It's like between the smoke shop and the hair between Fond du Lac. It's like kind of like in Cortland. And yeah, it's definitely one over there be popping. They got a nice little line of people. So we good now. I'm glad that they bring their business to the north side and northwest side a little bit. So
I was gonna say we got a lot downtown. There's a lot of taco food trucks and things like that, especially around Fiserv and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, they've been down there for years, but they wouldn't creep over here for the longest. We'll get a guest appearance here and there. Now they popping up.
I was gonna say all down Capitol, especially the further you go down the east. I know down Capitol Drive, there's a lot of food trucks down there, making me hungry. We gotta get a different time for this show because we always start getting hungry like halfway through it and start talking about lunch. All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap up our conversation here about the state budget a little bit. Just want to remind folks that the governor still has his line item veto when it comes to this budget. They've definitely, there were lawsuits trying to stop Governor Evers from being able to use the line item veto when he passed in 2023. He extended K-12 spending increases for the next 400 years by lining out a number and changing that number. But yeah, so there's still some line item veto stuff that can go through. The legislator is also looking at some policy to prevent the governor from using his line item veto and finding a way around that. In my experience, I would say that's probably going to be sooner than later. Maybe not this budget session yet. But they've also gave us some updates and said that it's likely we can expect this budget a little later than we normally do. Just simply because of a lot of changes that are being made. And the 600 things that they removed now, the Republican side will build back up the budget in a way that they see fit, and likely pass that. And that's when the governor will go in with his line item veto and change a few things likely. So it's a wait and see. Another one. Wait and see. Keep your eye on it. We'll keep you updated here on Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices. We'll make sure you know what's going on. And that brings us to another topic, Brian, that I think we've kind of been looking forward to talking about today. And I get a lot of questions as to where we find our news sources. Where do you get your news? What's a reliable source look like? How can I spot fake news? And we've got some tips today that we're going to run through. So finding credible news sources is essential for staying well informed and navigating the complex media landscape. And here's some practical strategies to help you identify trustworthy news outlets and critically evaluate the information they provide. First, you just got to evaluate the source.
Yep.
I mean, you got to see where it's coming from. If it's, if it's something you recognize and it's a trusted news source, then likely it probably is. But you can check the domain. So be cautious of websites with unusual domain names like .com.co or .lo. Which may mimic legitimate news outlets. You can use tools like going to whois.com to verify who owns the domain.
Yeah.
You can also investigate the publisher, research the organization behind the news source. Reputable outlets typically have an About Us section detailing their mission, editorial standards, and ownership. You can also assess the author's credentials. Reliable articles often include author bylines and verifiable credentials and contact information. Lack of this information can be a red flag. And I can say this as a former journalist myself. Was a sports editor for a small hometown newspaper. I always under my byline, which is where the author of the article usually puts their name and their who they work with. I always had my email address there, so that if anyone had a problem with my article, they could simply reach out and shoot me an email and say, you got my kid's name wrong, which is the one that I heard the most. You spelled my kid's name wrong. But yeah, make sure you can, check those out. Brian, do you have anything that, you use? I know you're always searching online and you're searching news sources and you're bringing up great articles and great things to the forefront. What are some of the things that you use?
For me, I just, after looking at articles, for a while and understanding what sites go to, you start kind of picking it up. It's like like second nature at some point, just to kind of know, it comes like a habit to really investigate and make sure. But like you were talking about the cross verifying, if you you can look at different fact checking sites like PolitiFact, factcheck.org, I think it's called Snopes. Of course, I know you talked about some other ways, analyzing the language and the tone. What's funny about that? Sometimes you can look at certain fake news articles and things like that, and you can kind of tell by the way that the person is speaking and how they're it seems more like an act versus and I know it's a lot of reporters that are new to the game, or maybe a little less seasoned, and they may have like this artificial type, or like this real robotic type of tone to their news, and to they craft their own sound, whatever. But I think it's important to look at the way that the person is presenting the news, and then verify from there. Like, oh, this don't seem right. Let me go ahead and look at the news source. If the news outlets or the news source look like it's some type of satire or something like that, more likely it is. Some people will get caught up in thinking that Onion News is real.
I was about to say, maybe we should put the disclaimer that Onion News is satire.
Yeah, Onion News is satire, ladies and gentlemen. So if you see something, I've seen folks from different groups, especially people who don't understand Onion, and then they'll put like Onion News and make it kind of look like it's made to look like a official news station. Onion News is not real, so don't repost things unless you understand what Onion News is. If you haven't understood Onion News, it's been around for a long time before Facebook was even available. Some other ways to know about the news sources: identify the type of content, news reporting, present facts about events, who, what, when, editorial opinions. You can look at those as well. You can go to the editorial section of a lot of these sites. A lot of them legitimize themselves. They have an editorial. They have some leader in their editorial manager or something to that extent that's representing for the organization. If you don't really see any of that, you'll definitely know as well. I do have some other ones on here. Look for citations and evidence. Are there names, sources, data, or official documents? Anonymous claims or vague experts say phrases reduce credibility. We always talk about social media. We just talking about that. Consider the date. Sometimes old news is recirculated and misrepresented. Just seen a news article the other day that was out, something that was circulating like a year ago, like a year or two ago. Matter of fact, it was something, it was crazy. They were circulating something that happened here in Milwaukee. Like it was like a little fight or something at Mitchell Domes. And this was on Cinco de Mayo. So somebody for some reason posted it, and it made it look like it was happened this year on Cinco de Mayo. And this was something that happened like 2 years ago at the Domes. But, people just recirculating things and, taking, recording it off the screen and then, posted it from themselves to, kick up controversy or give, things an ugly look. So goes right into being aware of deep fakes and altered media. I know we were speaking about that. I talked to that about my friends, and one of my friends the other day, we were sitting at the house and we were just talking about, deep fakes, understanding and how the AI and how good the AI has got, also just to start paying attention and start making yourself aware of the things to watch for with AI and how some of the AI can be fake. And you can check that online, or, we'll just have more people come in and we can bring up topics as well, have people come in and have you understand like the different levels of the AI. And then read beyond the headline. Headlines can be clickbait. Always read the article. Sometimes the articles don't make sense. Some they're poorly written. I mean,
Yep.
you've seen some poorly written articles on some local news stations.
Some AI written articles.
Yeah, some AI written articles, right. And then always, when in doubt, do not share. If it seems like it's weird, just don't share it. I mean, the less chance of you creating, some bad rumors, like the telephone game. You pass it around, and the further it goes, the story changes. So, and things can be altered, as we see. People put new little clips and add little edit text all to different types of videos these days. So accountability and on the and just your responsibility on your end, just to make sure that you're putting things out there that are factual and not misleading the mass, especially if you got a nice fan base.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, like you said, Brian, it's getting harder and harder every day to kind of make that difference between what's real and what isn't. I watched a video the other day, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, I would have swore it was a real video, and then all of a sudden, have you seen those where they just start morphing into something different?
Yeah.
I think they were eating Cheetos, and then the lady morphed into a rooster. And I was watching the video, and I had no idea until that happened. I'm like, oh my God, that's AI. They've gotten so good at it now that you just can't tell.
Man, that's a good segue to even talk about it before we get off the topic. That right there, the person eating the Cheeto and turning into a rooster. I've seen some where it's just one now. I mean, some of them are kind of like, we're getting to the point where they're saying that they disrupting like certain parts of your brain because of them do some weird trippy stuff, like the one where it was somebody was like eating the macaroni, but it was like actually like a burger eating macaroni. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
It's like morphing it like a pancake eating like French toast, and it's like a human face, but it looked like a pancake eating toast. But they can make them that detailed in that space to make it weird and have syrup falling off like a pancake eating itself. But you got other ways to watch out. We talked about the facial anomalies, so unnatural smoothness in the face. I just want to shout out some of these ways to identify the deep fakes, because some of our listeners are senior level. We want to make sure that our seniors understand, and they just not showing every video to the whole senior camp thinking it's or anybody. Manipulation comes on all levels,
Absolutely.
But just want to make sure our people aren't getting manipulated out here that we use internet scrolling. The skin may be approved to be smooth or airbrushed. That is something you see a lot too.
Yep.
It looks a little weird, the skin, so pay attention to that. Blurring or artifacts. You see a lot of blurring, or people are looking the same in the background, doing the same motions. That it could be possible deep fake or some AI. Inconsistent lighting or shadows. That could be one. Weird reflections.
Yeah.
So pay attention to the weird reflections in the videos. Distorted features is the most common one that you'll see. You'll see, the first, 3 or 4 people in there. And then after that, everybody else has blurred faces. Or another one that you'll see, the lettering on the shirts, some of the things. They may even have an extra. Another one to watch out for, everybody, with the deep fakes and things. They may have an extra appendage.
I've never checked that.
Yeah, so sometimes it may be 5 or 6 fingers and things like that. These are just ones out the gate. I'm like, okay, you just got to kind of scan a lot. Got a couple more on here. A natural blinking. That's another one. The blinking, they be doing
like a slow and drawn out blink.
It reminds you of the robots from like Chuck E. Cheese and stuff like that. They got that type.
The animatronics,
big time. The lip sync issues, they can't match up the lips. Well, some can, depending on what the focus of the program is, but the lip syncing issues. And then you got like head movements, and of course, watch the jerking of the heads or the unnatural motions. Head and body movements might appear stiff, robotic, or disconnected. And there's some other things we can go into, but I just want to highlight it for our people, just to be aware with the deep fakes and all the AI. You don't want to be misled, because they even showed one, and this one tripped me out because it was like a guy speaking at a church, at a black church that was kind of like a Baptist church. And then he's singing like, "This is not real." And they got the choir singing it like, "This is not real." Like they showing it, they telling you in there, but this is AI, and they singing it, but it's supposed to be saying like this in a black Christian church.
Right.
And it tripped me out. I'm like, man, they going to the point where they sending this out here to somebody 72-year-old grandma gonna be seeing this, and they're gonna be thinking that, you know, Obama didn't spoke at some church about something crazy, and it wasn't even him.
Right.
You know, it's AI. So yeah, it's the deep fake thing is real, and a lot of people get fooled out here on way other things outside of that. You know, people think a lot of these pictures and stuff that they see out here that are just still pictures are real. So you just gotta be aware of the videos out here. And if you got any questions or anything, we can definitely get find the answer the most best we can, or you know, get us a professional in here to talk about deep fakes and AI.
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting topic. I mean, just as how good it's becoming now. You know, it used to be when this first started coming to light, it was really easy to fake them. Now you're seeing audios faked, even used by criminals. You know, to try to mimic a loved one's voice so that they can try to extort money out of you.
Yeah, they've just been capturing a clip of the voice. I mean, you know, using that, and then whatever program they use, they're able to, you know, get it out of somebody. Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So we want folks to be aware, informed, to know, be able to recognize the difference between something that's fake and something that's real. Here's another thing that I learned. I believe I learned it in college, but it's you know, a good writer is going to give you both sides of the story. Even if they're trying to persuade you to one side, they're going to throw a little bit over to the other side and say, well, you know, the other side says this, and they may be right on these issues, but let me also tell you how this person says that they're wrong. So if it's all one-sided, you kind of want to watch out too. If someone's coming in with one point of view and not offering a window of another point of view to come in, or an opportunity to share, you know, the full story. I think that's when we get into irresponsible journalism, as to where we're leaving out major sections of the story and not making sure that all sides are heard and all voices are heard, and all point of views have been considered. So yeah, just some really good tips, Brian. I think about getting making sure that we don't fall for the trap of AI, fake deeps, and fake news, because there's a lot of that out there, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. It's you know, AI is not a fad like a lot of people thought the internet was a fad back in the 90s. You know, I remember hearing stories of businessmen that said, I'm not invested in that. It's going to be gone in a couple of years. And I think AI is here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. And anytime you have tools like that, you know, they can be used for good, but there's always going to be people that try to use them for bad too. So,
that is one of the biggest things. This is quietly, and it's like a rush for the first country to come up with the quantum computer that can control everything. So yeah, we can go ahead and take a break. When we come back, I do want to talk about I know how you mentioned yesterday, like, you know, sacrificing one thing to get to the, you know, the bridge,
right?
But you gotta, you know, maybe have to sacrifice something else that's added. I just kind of wanted to talk about not really related, but kind of related, something going on in Memphis with Elon Musk, one of his supercomputer sites that I thought was pretty interesting. And that's it for me.
All right. Well, we're going to be right back. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices on WNOV AM 106.5 FM. We'll be right back.
AURN News.
I'm Jamie Jackson. A new report by the Washington Post is raising questions about the Trump administration's immigration policy, specifically who is being allowed into the country as a refugee. According to the Post, despite a broadly anti-immigration platform, the administration is welcoming white South Africans. The newspaper says a State Department plane carrying at least 60 white South Africans was set to arrive Monday, and that, quote, white South Africans are the only group that has been welcomed into the U.S. Now, this development comes as South Africa's black-led government passed a law in 2024 that allows land to be taken, often without financial compensation, from white landowners in an effort to address generations of discrimination against black South Africans. White Dutch colonization of South Africa began in the 1650s, and apartheid, a system of legal racial segregation and discrimination, was in place until 1994. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
I'm Andrea Elbers with this TMJ4 News update. Milwaukee police are looking for the suspect involved in a shooting that left a 28-year-old dead. It happened just before 12:30 this morning near Teutonia and North. According to investigators, the victim died at the scene. Anyone with information is being asked to call MPD. We now know the identities of 4 out of the 5 victims in the massive apartment fire near 27th and Highland in Milwaukee. They are 40-year-old Terrell Coleman, 62-year-old Verna Richards, 76-year-old Mark Chafin, and 67-year-old Maureen Green. An unidentified woman also died. 6 other people were hurt in that fire. Jeffrey Ruppnow is now out of jail on bond. He is the father of 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow, the school shooter in Madison. Prosecutors say Ruppnow allowed his daughter to access firearms despite her documented mental health issues. Authorities say Natalie killed 2 people before taking her own life after the school shooting in December of 2024. According to ESPN, Giannis is open-minded about exploring whether or not his best long-term fit is here in Milwaukee or somewhere else. Giannis and his representatives are expected to meet with the Bucks over the next month to discuss the future. It's important to note that Giannis has not asked for a trade. He's just said he is open-minded in exploring the topic. To watch and read these stories and more, go to tmj4.com.
Here's your updated forecast. We'll see a few spotty rain showers early today. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a high in the mid-60s. Winds out of the east around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy and a low near 52. By Wednesday, partial sunshine develops, high of 64 degrees. Thursday, a chance for showers and storms here late. Partly sunny skies, a high of 72. Friday, a slight chance for rain late. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops, high of 75. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
Hey, this is Nisha with Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio, where your voice matters. Catch us Mondays and Tuesdays at 11 a.m. on WNOV 860 AM. Be heard, be informed, be a voice.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
Hi, I'm Joe Dray with Wisconsin Voices. Voting is essential, but real democracy happens every day. Wisconsin Voices helps people take action between elections by organizing, educating, and advocating. If you want to do more than just cast a vote and you want to create real change, this is the place to start. Join the movement for year-round civic power at wisconsinvoices.org.
860 AM, 106.5 FM. WNOV, The Voice.
Welcome back. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. And Brian,
Yo,
did you have something you wanted to share here as we're closing out the show?
yeah, I remember yesterday we were just talking about states or things being tacked on the bills just to get things done that could be beneficial for the city, but sometimes it comes with a cost. And even in this case, I was just looking at how Elon had a supercomputer facility built in Memphis, and has raised significant concerns. Also, it looks like some things could be tied on. It could be beneficial to the city, but just because we're about everything that's, whether it's local and this is a national, and I have some connections in Memphis, but this is a supercomputer known as Colossus has emits a lot of energy. And I was looking at it yesterday, and they were talking about it a few weeks ago, but these turbines that it has emit substantial amounts of nitrogen oxide and other pollutants, contributing to air pollution in surrounding areas in Memphis. Concerns have raised that the facility could be one of the largest emitters of nitrogen oxide in Memphis. And the use of these gas turbines and generators have also shown to contribute to the production of formaldehyde, as we know, which is a carcinogen.
Right.
So, and why this is important to me, this is an area of Memphis that my family comes from. South Memphis is it's an environmental concern because it's in South Memphis, which is a predominantly Black and low income community, and that's where my grandparent and his brothers and sisters, the Adams family and their cousins, the Rhodes families, and some, one's extended family as well. That's where they was raised. And of course, North Memphis as well, has been burdened by industrial pollution. I've seen it when I go down there. You can tell, you kind of feel like it's a haze over the city of that area. Residents, environmental advocates express concerns that this AI facility is exacerbating existing environmental injustices. So, the supercomputer uses a lot of water, requires vast amounts of water to keep the computers cool, as you know, and there's concern about the strains this puts on the local water supply. The reason why, I brought that up was because, always something on the other end for, somebody. So what it's saying, while there is no full or long-term benefits are still unfolding or and they're subject to update some of these changes. Here's what the Memphis is expected to gain from allowing Elon Musk's AI supercomputer facility in the city: economic investment, potential job creation. So it's looking at a financial investment in Memphis. Initial estimates in March 2025 place its development at over 400 million. Job creation: the facility is projected to create hundreds of jobs, while the exact number of high-paying tech jobs versus support roles are debated. The presence of major tech company like XAI could stimulate job growth in related sectors as well. Initial reports suggesting about 320 high-paying jobs in initial phase. Economic growth, of course, influx of investment has expected to drive economic growth in the region. And then something about making it a hub for innovation, attracting further investments. So this is some of the things that they've been are on the rise or could be possible benefits for it. But right now, the quality of air for South Memphis and the disruption of their water flow, to me, is more important right now than that for that community, especially for a community that I have family members in, and a community that I have some connections to, and a lot of my friends and family across Milwaukee and people that's listening to this right now have connections to South Memphis. So I just want to make y'all aware. I know a lot of our cousins down there don't speak about this type of stuff because they got other things going on. But for my folks that got the Memphis connections, tap in with them, see how they feeling about what's going on in their community, or surprise them and share something to them that's going on in their community down there. So just want to make y'all aware of what's going on.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I saw the same thing when I was a member of city council, and we would hear these proposals from these major tech companies that would want to come in and set up a very large facility, and it's very enticing, especially for a municipality that may be struggling on their budget.
Advantage of them, don't they? Yeah.
And $400 million to a community that's struggling, it's almost like a lifesaver. But there's always another side to that. There's always a catch. There's always something.
And it's heavy.
And a lot of times those companies don't really care about the community that they're in.
No.
They don't reinvest back into the community. And then they don't create as many jobs as they really should for a facility that big. So
we've seen it in the past with ones that's come in and open up these big chemical companies, and then they just, they're killing everybody with these poisons that they drop in, and all the fracking and whatever they're shooting into the air, all the gases, and then, then they just up and leave.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to about do it for us for this week.
I think so.
All right.
Well, Joe, go ahead and take us
all right,
out, man.
So, well, thank you guys for listening. Make sure to tune in next week, Monday and Tuesday, 11 to noon. And on behalf of Brian Sanders and Joe Dray, I'm going to say, have a great week, everybody. See you later.